Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. We're going to talk about the narcissistic relationship and what it can do to you. I'm going to relate it to Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. There's a couple key points that I really think are important. It's not so much about the slap that has just occurred at the award ceremony, but throughout their relationship, they start this relationship and things start to go south. Both of them, I want you guys to really take this to heart, is they have both considered suicide. Willow, their daughter, has considered suicide. I'm not too sure on Jaden, but it's the trickle down that happens. The kids have been affected. They got a lot of issues going on of self-harm, suicidal thoughts, just needing to feel some comfort, some balance. So they're in the limelight. You got all the other things with Hollywood, but Jada had cheated on Will, and so things were not in the agreement stage because they had agreed to be monogamous. Will ends up cheating. Sometimes that's reactive abuse, but if you look at the Red Table Talk, I'd like you guys to watch that YouTube to see Will Smith's face, how it changes, to see the pain that's underneath, the callousness of a coldness in Jada. Some of the words that they use, Jada is, she says entanglement instead of cheating or relationship, to where it's not quite owning up. It's kind of like out in the open. So you got to address it, but she doesn't address it head on. She's still not taking full accountability. The dynamics during that Red Table Talk, you can see all the pain. You can see Jada being somewhat dismissive over the trueness of the hurt that was caused by it, the entitlement. And then as they're having this talk, you can see Will just kind of like going with the flow, but it doesn't seem like it's what it's in his heart. And at the end they say, ride or die, bad marriage for life. They know their marriage is in shambles. It's destroyed so many lives. And I just want you guys to take that to heart, is how destructive it can be. You saw Will at the award ceremony, smacking Chris Rock. I do find it a little interesting. It's kind of nice that he used an open hand. I kind of want to understand why he used an open hand, which is good, but it seems out of character for somebody defending somebody, especially a male person. But it's just kind of a question I have. Glad he did that, but he was defending Jada, and he could have just shouted the words that he shouted. He didn't need to hit or slap, but he had gone along with the joke. Maybe he didn't process it. They're in the middle of the ceremony. They got the cameras on them. They're supposed to, make it seem good for the cameras. So sometimes they might not even understand the joke, and they're just keeping with the flow of it. Maybe he understood it, maybe he didn't. Sometimes you get lost in the situation, but when he looked over and saw Jada's face, he saw the disappointment. He knew he was laughing, which probably would have upset her. And they're already in such a rocky situation that he felt he had to correct it. And I believe it was out of his character to go on stage like that, to get angry. But he has slapped a reporter, I believe it was in France, for kissing Will on the cheek, kind of like push him away. Didn't like it at all. And it's like strangers too. You don't want people, it's cultural over there, but if you're not used to it, it's very uncomfortable if you're not used to it. So him trying to defend Jada he is trying so hard, just like we are trying so hard to keep our person. Or that's what we did in the past, where we act out of character. We go above and beyond, because most people would have handled it different, even if they shouted. Physical abuse is never good, especially in that situation. It wasn't like a life-threatening situation where you have to use physical force. So you see the pain in him, and he's going along with a polyamorous or not monogamous relationship, and I believe he did it to keep her. I don't believe that's what he wanted, but if that's what you're going to do, might as well do it. So he's changing who he is. He's changing his core beliefs, and we got to not lose who we are. Whatever you guys want to do on your sexuality is fine, but if that's your belief, don't change your belief. And he's losing himself. He's losing his cool. He's let himself go as far as during COVID. He gained a lot of weight, got out of shape. That's usually because of depression. Also COVID, you know, we're kind of stuck. We're a little bit depressed, but we also don't have our activities. But he's losing himself. He's losing his drive. He's losing his sense of purpose, because now his only purpose is to make her happy, and she's never happy. So how is that a healthy purpose in life? To give your all to somebody who has no problem trash talking about you, how you are in the bedroom, smearing them, you know, instead of talking through things, you know, making it a public issue, you know how people don't want to be known as the worst lover or a crappy lover. She has these little jabs on him, and he's taking all this stuff. And over time, you can see it in his face. It is not a happy relationship. They, you know, if you watch that Red Table Talk, there were some times where they laughed, but you could still see the emptiness she's starting to pull from him. She's starting to take some of his soul away. And I'm really scared for what is going to happen. You know, sometimes people will stay in these relationships, especially since they can go outside their marriage and there is a lot of money involved. They might just do it because, you know, but it's getting so toxic between them. The words that they say, the entitlement from JADA, the inability to take accountability. Also Will, he doesn't necessarily always listen to what JADA says too, though, is she wanted a non-traditional small wedding, but that's not what he wanted. But he wanted to kind of love bomb her too, because he still wanted to secure her. Sometimes it depends on why you want to do some things, because he had done a 40-year birthday for her, went extremely extravagant, and she was ticked off. He planned this for 3 years, and on her 40th birthday, she hated it. She resented him for it. He spent so much money, planned it for 3 years, and it was supposed to be a celebration of her life. This is the woman that he loves, and she saw it as an ego trip for him, and maybe it kind of was too, trying to show off. But I do think he has a love for her. You see the pain in his eyes. You see the fact that he wanted to defend her, but suicidal thoughts, severe depression, the way that they tried to own each other. And it's kind of like they came to an agreement, but you could also see the emptiness in her words, where it's like, yeah, you know, and it didn't seem deep and loving. It seemed like it's kind of sad to say, but I was at my uncle's funeral, and my family's from the Netherlands. I live in America, and my uncle died in a plane crash. So it was a closed casket. It was just a picture of him. And his brother from the Netherlands walks in, way off. And, you know, my uncle, there's no casket. And then I see the brother that I've never seen walk in, who looks so much like him. And for an instant, like I laughed, because it was I can't remember, I was probably 17 years old, but it was a nervousness that I had. Like, I didn't know how to handle it. And I felt so bad that I laughed. But sometimes we do that as a coping mechanism. And I think part of what Will's doing is he's trying to keep it lighthearted, even though he's hurting so deep inside. And as we go through our relationships, we gloss over things, you know, we push things aside. And my best friend right now is struggling with her relationship. She just lets the abuse go on, because if she tries to defend herself, it gets worse. She feels kind of trapped with finances. She still loves him, but the depression, the suicidal thoughts, she's even had that. It's such a messed up thing that I don't want you guys to get to that point where you are that sad, that lonely, that empty, where you feel there's no way out. And just be really careful with how long you stay in these relationships, because it can lead to those thoughts. If you have those thoughts, call the suicide hotlines, find some help. You can go to the hospital, you can call suicide hotlines, you can talk to a therapist, reach out for help. But inside these relationships, they are that destructive, to where this person who's happy and in love, just wanting to love the person they're with, is crying all the time now, or feeling lost, or letting themselves go, becoming unhealthy. You know, even it's not so much about how you look, but when you let yourself go, it causes health problems on top of the abuse and the confusion and the mental stress. Stress causes all these health issues. And I just see such an emptiness growing. Like Will Smith does not look like the same Will Smith that he did before. He used to have more of a glow to him. I did a video where, you know, after, I want to say a year and a half, I can't remember exactly how long, but after we broke up, I ran into some people at the bar and they're like, wow, you look really good. And like, they were like legit about it. It wasn't like the kind, oh, you look really good, good to see you. It was like an astonished, like, wow, you look a lot different. And it's not that I was prettier, it's just I had that glow back. We lose ourselves. We start to look sunken. And even just that, when you know, I teach some classes on body language, and you know, people are drawn to smiles and energy and the glow. That's why a lot of women, just when they're pregnant, when I was pregnant, you did not, I'm 6'1", so you did not know I was pregnant. The biggest my waist got was, what was it, 30, it was either 30 inches, and when she dropped it was 32, or 32, and when she dropped it was 34. I can't remember, but it's basically a 32-inch waist. Full-term baby, gained 55 pounds, is all in my hips. But I got hit on a lot. Because I was happy. I had that inner glow. I have a baby coming. And it was weird, because I didn't look pregnant, but it was weird how substantially more guys were drawn to me at that time. And also some people did know, and they had the hero instinct, because my ex and I broke up when I was in the middle of being pregnant. And, you know, you got to watch out for people's intentions. Those people, I don't believe they were really asking me out because they wanted me in particular, but they saw an easy way to be a hero, because I would latch onto them. It was a manipulation technique, kind of like an easy way to secure somebody. So be cautious on those things. Narcissists play all these games. And I just, the Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith relationship is so destructive. And with all the stuff that happened, with the slap, and there's going to be some changes in the future, and I'm kind of scared. And you know, Will Smith is used to acting and being top dog, pretty much always picked, I'm sure. And now he's, you know, going to have to go through all these different emotions. Like it's affecting his career. It's affecting his health. It's affecting his kids. And it's not that his kids are just, you know, getting chunky, you know, like I said, I'm not sure about Jaden, the boy, but Willow is at least, you know, self-harming, and, you know, she would cut herself, and she thought of suicide. And if you guys are staying in a narcissistic relationship because you have kids, look at what it did to at least, you know, the girl. It seems like Jaden has some issues that I want to research more, but if you stay in these relationships for the kids, you're causing damage to them. because you'll probably overcompensate. Your narcissist will screw them up, whether they're abusive or putting too much expectations onto them. So we try to overcompensate. So they're required to do this, but we're like, oh, we got to make up for it somehow because that's too much pressure. And the kid's not going to know how to act because nothing is balanced for them. So I just thought it was interesting to see how much pain I'm just seeing in his face. And the narcissistic traits I see in her, the reactive abuse I see from Will. I'm not going to say they're both not at fault, but a lot of the things that we go through in our childhood affect the way we see things, affect the way we act, and it's more at a subconscious level. And I think when Will went into this relationship, he had said in his previous marriage that he did not want to get divorced. And his first wife had said, so you'd rather keep me and I don't love you. But he believed so hardcore in marriage that he wasn't looking at the picture. And be careful, I know sometimes religion comes into that, but now he's doing this in this new relationship, or the relationship with JADA, and he's losing himself based on his idealized life, you know, because empathetic people, we want our life too. And sometimes we make sacrifices we shouldn't, because it's not a compromise. We're sacrificing us. We're not sacrificing our money. We're not sacrificing where, you know, where we live, so we can compromise and move to a different state, or even just going with the flow. But we're losing who we are, our focus on life, our friends, and it starts to deplete who we are. So I just wanted to bring up the fact that, you know, the longer you stay in these, it can get that bad to where there is so much pain, thought of unhealthy thoughts, reactive abuse that we're going to give. We're going to change who we are. So now if we seem like the bitch or whatever, we're going to, you know, nobody's going to want to be us. We're going to, around us, we're going to start picking up their traits, and we're going to be even more miserable because we're acting in a way that is not us. So take a stand and don't lose who you are. It's going to be hard. There's going to be ups and downs. You're going to go through those withdrawals because of the serotonin levels, and it's like as addictive as being on cocaine. And we're going to have to rewire our brain. And sometimes that can be painful. But what's more painful is continuing on and allowing more and more damage to our brain, to our physical health. You can actually die from a broken heart syndrome. So you gotta, you know, rebuild your friendships. You gotta break free. You gotta quit entertaining these hoovers. You need not continue reverse hoovering where you bring yourself back into that situation because you don't want to feel the pain. But sometimes a little bit of pain is worth the outcome. You know, I broke a little piece of bone off my foot by my ankle, and I did not want to have surgery. So I put it off for the longest time. Also just recently did it with my knee, where I put it off for a long time. I'm like, I don't want to do this. You know, it hurts. But I was afraid of surgery. And after you do it, it hurts for a while. Sometimes the hurt might be a little bit more than the initial pain, but then you have a life of freedom, a life you can use, a leg you can use, and you're worth it. So please like and subscribe. One-on-one's available, and give me some suggestions. I'd love to make a video for you. Have a great day. See you in the next video.